Hey guys, I'm Rainiac, and we're back with another Doctor Who review, and I'm joined not by one, but by two guests.
No, you're not.
Yeah, we got FreezingInferno, and we got Cat back with us. Who's
Or
not
do we?
saying anything.
I want to see what you do. Maybe
Jeez.
And
people
now you
think
know.
you're crazy.
And now you know. Okay, so this was In the Forest of the Night, and let's just get the spoiler warning out of the way. There are spoilers in the episode. Right, In the Forest of the Night then. This has divided a lot of opinion.
Well, I don't know that divided a lot of opinion. There's definitely been a lot of polarizing talk about it. For the record, I don't think it's like a stand-up, oh my god, this was so good episode. It was perfectly tolerable, and it's good, but compared to the rest of Series 8,
This
no.
was pointless.
I
This
don't
whole
think
entire episode was pointless.
I don't think anybody's been calling it great.
Here's my question.
What?
Why is it called In the Forest of the Night when it deals with the sun and it takes place in the day?
Because it's based on the title of a William Blake poem.
Okay.
Did you learn that from me, or did you know that already?
I knew that.
Good.
Here's a question. How many people have actually read that poem or know that it exists?
Tiger Tiger?
Me.
Tiger Tiger burning bright in the forest of the night.
Never heard of it.
That's
Yeah.
where it comes from.
Never
I
heard
can
of it.
get you the poem.
It's a good
I'll
poem,
get
but
you
yeah,
the
that's
poem.
where it comes from, and that's also by the way why there was a tiger in the episode.
Oh, you mean the tiger that was there for only a couple minutes before it was scared off by a light?
It would be kind of criminal to not include a tiger in an episode that was referencing William Blake. But anyway, Cat's kind of touched on it. This for me wasn't a great episode, but we'll get into why it wasn't a great episode anyway. Our opening sequence is a bit different this time.
I kind of liked it. Mostly
liked
because I like the little girl character, Mabe. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She just, in the beginning, she reminds me kind of Alice in Wonderland, where it's that curious sort of girl who speaks almost entirely in nonsense.
Yeah.
And it's like, that appeals to me as an Alice in Wonderland fan. So I liked her.
I think Mabe reminded me of something else that I'll talk about a bit later on when we get into themes presented by the episode. But yeah, Mabe's alright as a character.
Cool.
It's just the
I did
other
like
kids
Dr.
that
Slime.
ticked me off.
We need to get to them later, but yes. I think as a character
like
and
the
an
Dr.
actress, I don't know unfortunately, who the actress was. However, a bit of a casting thing here. You'll not know what this is. Yeah, but you'll not know what this is, but there is a cartoon series over here called Peppa Pig.
Heard of it? Yes,
Uh-huh.
it's here too.
Oh, right. Well, my cousin's little daughter, loves it.
hmm
And the girl that played Mabe is the voice of Peppa Pig.
Abigail Eames.
Thank you.
Ames.
Thank you very much. Yeah, she plays the voice of Peppa Pig.
Huh.
So there's just a little thing about you. But yeah, I thought she did a good job. I love the bit where she runs into the TARDIS and it's like, aren't you going to say it's bigger on the inside? And she just doesn't react to
She just
it.
assumes that it's supposed to be that
Well,
way.
yeah, because she's a kid who, like I said, she's very Alice in Wonderland. So all this is just like, oh, okay, this is normal. All right.
I did like the doctor's explanation. The Coke about how a Coke is this big, but it has this much sugar in it.
Yeah. You kind of jumped the gun with that. I also like how when she went to the TARDIS, they filmed it from her perspective.
That was also cool, but the camera was a little wobbly.
Well,
I
shaky
guess that
cam.
was a deliberate choice of course.
We had a shaky
Yeah,
cam in a
just a
Doctor
little
Who
bit.
episode.
Oh my god, I know, right? Next, I'll say that the special effects were a bit naff.
No, that's the one thing that I'm not going to say. Special effects were superb.
Well,
Throughout.
that's more of a criticism of old.
Yeah,
Doctor
I
Who's
want to say one thing. It's about the previous episode. What's it called? Flatline. The part where the Doctor is in the TARDIS and the TARDIS is all small. That looked really fake to me. Like you could tell it was a screen, and he was really flat looking inside of it.
flat looking in an episode called Flatline.
On the flip side, Kat, Adam's Family.
Yeah, that was cool. That effect was cool. It was when his entire body was inside of the small TARDIS that I didn't like, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to tell you that.
I think it was meant to be a bit corny, but your point is a valid one. Anyway, back to the episode that we're actually reviewing. Also, that shot when she says, "Well, we are in the middle of London, and it is a forest," and it pans up to Nelson's column.
If you don't mind me going into an old Doctor Who tangent here, it reminded me of a little thing.
Fred's going into a classic Who tangent?
No!
I know, right? It's ridiculous. There's an episode, one of Tom Baker's early episodes, the Santaran experiment, where they're on Earth in like the year 10,000 or 5,000 or some nonsense. And what the producers wanted was, it was like shot on a moor or something just outside. And what they wanted was Nelson's head sticking out of the ground as if to say, hey, this is London and we're buried. Because the Doctor does have a throwaway line where he says to the companion, Trafalgar Square is just that way in this blighted wasteland.
Nice.
And they wanted Nelson's head poking out of the ground, but they couldn't afford it.
Oh.
Well, the way they actually got around putting London into the forest, or maybe putting the forest into London, is they did the opposite. I thought maybe they put like trees and then CGI'd in trees over London. No, they took parts of London and put it in the forest. Like props. Like the lion, Trafalgar Square, things like that.
Well, as long as you hide the fact that there's technically no more roads, which really the trees would have gotten rid of anyway, simply because they sprouted up. Although, what we see at the end, for all we know, they didn't sprout up. I don't know.
And also,
but it would make sense for there not to be, actual roads.
It also there was supposed to be a prop bus in the episode. I didn't actually see a bus, but apparently there was a bus. It wasn't a real bus. It was a piece of cardboard. Because they couldn't put a proper bus in the forest. So as they revealed this in Doctor Who episode, they're like, how are we going to get a bus or the illusion of a bus into a forest? I know, we'll get a bit of cardboard, paint a bus on it, and they'll never notice. And I didn't.
Good job.
Yeah, good job, me.
I don't think I even saw the bus.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if there was a bus to begin with. But if I'd seen it, I would never have known it was a fake bus. Anyway. Moving on, because we're getting way off tangent here. As you say, Maby's not the only child in this episode. Oh boy.
Okay, go ahead, Kat.
I have a question, just so I know if I can be mean or not. When Clara says the name of the classroom, what was it that she said about them?
Year 8, Coal Hill Year 8 Gifted and Talented Group. I was cringing at that.
I have to ask, are these special education kids?
If that's usually what gifted and talented means, it means there's something wrong with them.
Oh.
Okay. See, that makes this a little harder. Because on the one hand, they're supposed to be, the special kids. And you can't really be mean about that because there are some kids who act just like them. But on the other hand, this is a Doctor Who show and they were pretty shit.
I love how you give with one hand then take away with the other. I love that. Anyway. Yeah,
I highly doubt that these kids are actually special education.
The kids weren't that great. The one I kind of liked was the kid with the hat.
He was okay, but that line where he says to Danny, if you stop calling us a team. But that kind of rubbed on me wrong.
That's
but
kind of a typical kid, though.
Yeah, I didn't like it, but that's something that a kid would say. So it's like he's a little shit, but he's not as bad as the other ones.
I did quite like his line though about I think it's Bradley's kid was he says, I've got a note from my mother. It says I'm darkness phobic. He goes, does it mean he's allowed to blind me, sir?
That kid.
Bradley, please.
Bradley just didn't really do a whole lot in the episode. And in fact, there were two things that they sort of, early on in the story, they just didn't capitalise on, or didn't elaborate on. Bradley being allergic to nuts just did nothing.
It's like they said, okay, we have these kids, and they have to be something, but we don't have time for these kids to discover this. So, you mentioned something about nuts on trees and how you're allergic. You mention how annoying you are.
Oh my God.
You mention that you were in anger management, and that'll explain the flashbacks where you're beating up people.
Oh, he beat up a kid for a dictionary. I forgot about that.
And it's like it had nothing to do with the story. It had
I was
nothing
kind
to
of
do with anything.
amused by the little kid in Danny's math class. Find X.
Oh, Ruby.
It's right there, sir.
Mother effing Ruby, I hate her.
Can I just say a little thing about Ruby? That scene where I found that scene very funny when she's trying to find X and it's right there. It's not lost at all. There was a TV series over here. Probably didn't get to America and Canada. It was called Educating Essex. It was a documentary set in a school. And in one of the trailers, there's a guy teaching not even like year 8, but maybe year 11, year 10s some maths. And he's trying to teach them the value of pi.
Uh-huh.
And one of the girls at the back of the class says, on field view camera, "What is pi and where did it come from?"
Oh. To be clear, year 10 is how old?
Year 10 would be 15, 14, 15.
Oh, okay.
Year 11 would be 15 to 16.
Right. So that's
the point. They were a lot older than the kids featured in this episode. And that's another thing. They didn't look like year 8s to me.
Yeah, they looked like they were 10.
Yeah, which would
I'm bad with ages, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
They don't look any older
like
than
they
13.
They did though look like they were like 11.
They looked a lot younger than they were supposed to be, especially Mabe.
They looked like they were heading off to Hogwarts.
Oh my God.
I knew we could count on you to get a Harry Potter reference in there somewhere.
Of course. Come on.
But yeah, the kids didn't
Hey,
really...
it's destiny, because on my way home from school, I saw a license plate that said H. Potter.
Oh, God.
Oh my God. Well,
I'm not even joking.
There you go.
The kids didn't really serve much of a purpose. I did like how the adventure actually improved them.
They served to annoy me.
That's what the writer exactly thought. Okay, let's see.
Look, I don't know what Ruby is supposed to be in the spectrum of special education students, but I know she is really friggin' annoying.
I think when I said they were so special, I think it's more they were problem children.
I hope that's what they meant.
It may not be that they had mental issues, and I'm saying that.
Because if this is what they think children with mental issues are always like, I have a few words for them.
A lot. You weren't the only one.
Most of them are 4-letter.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk with this episode.
There was a particular scene later on that we'll get to that caused quite a bit of controversy.
Yeah, so let's talk about, I don't know.
But anyway, let me just go back to the kids a second. Go back to the kids a second. I do like the fact that the adventure sort of made them better and that Ruby stopped being a dumb shit. And
no, she didn't.
The dumb shit. Jesus. Oh my God.
She didn't.
Well, she started noticing things and she went from not recognising that X had to be found not on the board, but she actually made an observation about how it was both nuts and berries, and that was unusual. Nothing came of that observation.
She also
that was in the middle of the episode. At the end, when the doctor was like, "Oh, there's this thing coming," explaining the plot to us, and she's like, "We're going to die."
Yeah, and
she just
wanted her mother.
She didn't improve.
No.
At all.
I mean, in terms of the way she saw the world, not in terms of how she was as a character. She was still super annoying. I'm not sure who was worse, her or Bradley.
Yeah.
It's her, then Courtney, then Bradley, and then maybe Kid with the Hat.
Kid with the Hat.
Whatever
Samson.
his name was.
Samson,
thank you. I don't know these people's names.
I'm just gonna say, as soon as I realised
child actors on this show, though.
As soon as I realised this episode contained a cast of child actors, I knew you had to be on this review. I knew it.
I knew as soon as I saw Ruby, I had to be on this review. I'm serious. That is horribly, it's half offensive and half annoying.
Okay, we've ranted nearly 10 minutes about how terrible these children are in this episode. So,
okay, good. I could go on for longer then.
Please don't. Otherwise,
anyways, why are the kids here? What's going on?
We're going to be here for the next 2 hours if you keep this up. So
I can go for 3.
What do we think of the actual plot?
Okay. Juvenile. Yeah.
Interesting choice of words, Fresno.
I thought it was okay.
It was very fairy tale-esque, wasn't it?
That's why I said juvenile.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It was
There
more
a
like a
lot
Matt
of-
Smith episode.
Yeah, I alluded to that much on the internet, but yeah, there were a lot of weird little callbacks. There's some oblique ones, like the part where Maeve drops all her stuff, and the Doctor and Clara would say, "Oh, it's just like Hansel and Gretel. Oh, we're gonna find the gingerbread house next."
Oh,
But then you have scenes like Maeve being chased by a wolf to escape from the zoo,
while wearing
and
red
she's wearing
clothing.
a red jacket.
Yeah, while wearing red clothing.
Have you guys ever heard of or know about the original version of Cinderella?
No, but I'm pretty sure it's as messed up as the original versions of The Little Mermaid.
Yes.
Yes. At one point, in order to try to trick the prince into thinking that the two evil stepsisters are Cinderella, they cut off their toes and I believe part of their heels. And the only way the prince knows that they are not the real Cinderella is because he sees the blood leaking through.
Yeah.
Ah!
It's where we get this idea that people think it was a glass slipper in the original. It's not. They were actually made out of fur, and the slipper sort of filled with
For
blood.
those who don't know about the Little Mermaid, she actually does not get the prince, and at the end of 3 days, she turns into sea foam. And depending on your version, she either has to do, I think it was 100 or 1,000 good deeds in order to gain a soul, because mermaids don't have a soul, in order to go to heaven. These are the real classic fairy tales. Now, obviously, Disney dumbs them down because, oh no, we can't have people cutting off their toes in a Disney movie.
Yeah, the fact that they can kill James Earl Jones as a lion.
This is a fairy tale written by a 9-year-old.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I was disappointed in the writer.
Let me sum this up real fast, and I know I'm going to skip ahead, but let me sum this up real fast. There are magic fireflies, which can turn themselves into trees in order to stop the world from dying.
The magic fireflies weren't the trees.
Episode.
The magic fireflies weren't the trees.
Oh.
Well,
the writer of the episode was a
then
was
explain
writer, wasn't
explain that bit at the end where they turn into the magic fireflies.
I don't want to.
I don't.
They're made of magic. As far as I'm concerned, with the way they did the special effects, the trees are made out of the magic fireflies.
I had such a problem with that ending, and we'll talk about the ending at the end of the review.
Well, it's not so much the magic fireflies that's the problem with the ending. It's some other stuff.
It's everything with that ending is my problem with the ending.
Oh boy. But yeah, like I said, the writer of this episode was a children's book writer, isn't that right, Randy?
Partly a children's writer, yeah. Frank Cottrell Boyce. He's done film scripts, he's done TV work, but he has done children's books. He won an award, I think the Carnegie Medal.
Okay, so I guess the child...
The Carnegie Medal for Millions.
Okay.
Well done, yes.
And the 2012 Guardian Prize for The Unforgotten Coat, which was commissioned by a charity.
Someone's done her homework, I'm impressed.
Hey,
Someone's looking at the Wikipedia page.
that counts.
I tried to give you kudos and you just tore it all down.
Yeah.
GG.
Good job. No re. Okay.
Okay, so the plot, yeah, I honestly didn't like the plot very much. I mean, we've got flame-proof trees, we've got a forest growing up overnight. That in itself was fine.
This tried to be... It's like it's a filler episode that tried to be a plot episode, but it didn't do it well.
There was one part of the plot that I think you actually would kind of like, because it tied into Kill the Moon.
Oh, that was me.
But again, that was the end. No, I think Kat's been ranting about how Kill the Moon's in the wrong order, and...
Yeah, your order.
That part that I think you're talking about, that is a part I liked.
Yeah, that was probably what would have reset the episode order to the rightful natural order of things. But anyway...
Yeah, when we get to that, I'll explain what I think the series should have been.
I apologize this review's all over the place. We haven't got the usual notes to work off.
That's alright.
So, yeah. But honestly, the thing is, you couldn't tell, I didn't really like most of this episode, so I don't really need to have conflict.
Honestly, really, with the way this episode is, there really isn't a way to do it in a chronological order, because it's all over the place as well.
It's a mess.
It really is.
It's a mess. But let's try and give the episode its due and talk about some of the things we did like, such as Capaldi's performance yet again.
Oh, yes. I really liked how he interacted with the child actors. I mean, I know you didn't like the child actors, but the way he interacted with them, I liked it.
He was great.
Like how he panics and he's just, when Maeve isn't in the TARDIS and he's just looking at every kid. Are you Maeve? Are you Maeve? Are you Maeve?
Now, here's my question. Has the Doctor ever had problems with fighting people he knows like that before?
Not this Doctor, no.
Well, I mean, like in the past. Is it a common thing for him to see all humans as the same?
Sometimes.
To the point where he can't tell who somebody is?
I think it was done purely for laughs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was quite funny, especially when he started looking at some of the boys.
It was kind of funny, but when you're in an episode where they kind of also talk about maybe children who are in special education, it doesn't really work.
I still think that's sort of unconfirmed.
It kind of makes him sound like he's racist towards humans.
The only one that we know, all of the children we know did have problems was Maeve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she had real actual problems that were able to be explained.
Except she didn't, which again we'll go into later because that was the problem that
that's gonna be a fun can of worms.
But I thought Capaldi was great with the children, and I will rant at length how good he is as the Doctor.
He sold me.
There's very little to say at this point that hasn't already been said.
Mm.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm just kind of sad that he's sort of wasted in all these... I wouldn't say mediocre because there were some really good ones this season, but in a bunch of episodes that don't use his full potential.
This entire season has actually been really strong.
This has been one of the strongest series.
Well, of course, there have been weaker stories that we didn't like as much, but that's the nature of a series.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like on the whole series so far is a mess, especially with that whole overarching plot stuff, which I assume we'll get to later.
Oh, we will.
We're not.
Oh, we will.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God, will we ever?
Oh, Lord alive.
So I thought Capaldi did a good job. What about Jenna Coleman?
I did like her and Danny in this episode and how it sort of resolved the whole line business. I kind of like that.
It didn't even actually do that. That was so annoying.
Do you not think
it did and it didn't in a way. I mean, it's instead of just a big old stupid dumb fight, it's just him understanding.
Yeah, him understanding was nice. It really adds to Danny's character, but the fact that Clara is still trying to hide it,
Yeah.
no.
I don't think she's going to try to hide it anymore, but I don't know if we'll resolve that on camera because we've got the final 2 episodes coming up, and I think that we're going to be a little busy for that.
I think we had enough of the couple bullshit from the previous series.
Is this where I have to bring out the spoiler foghorn? You get very close.
I'm not going to say any more than that. I'm just going to say that the finale is probably going to be a little busy.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
Just a bit. But no, I thought, again, I'm sorry if we're skipping over this. This may end up being a much shorter review than usual.
That's fine.
But I thought Jenna Coleman did a decent job. Probably not her most outstanding performance, though.
Nah.
But again, her concern for the children shone through. Because at the end of the day, she is a school teacher.
Kind of. This is where I think most of the conflict between Danny and Clara comes from, is the fact that Clara really, really likes to travel with the Doctor. She loves it. And even at one point, she's like, aren't you excited? There's all this stuff going on. And Danny's like, no, we need to think of the kids.
Yeah.
I did like that, too.
It's nice to not have them be, oh, they're such a perfect couple. They never fight. Nothing happens that's wrong with them. Because that's what it seemed like it was heading for with the whole Danny was, oh, I'm okay with, you being with the Doctor.
Yeah. And I thought, actually, Danny was a standout at this episode for me as well.
Yeah.
He's grounded, see? He just cares about the here and now as opposed to all this spacey bullshit.
And I liked how he was actually almost enjoying the danger of it in a little bit.
Maybe.
I think he enjoyed being in charge of the children.
Like I said, he cared more about the children than the spectacle, as evidenced with the fact that he didn't want to go up and see everything that was going to go on.
But as Clara pointed out, he was actually enjoying it.
Yeah. Which is why we need to get him in the TARDIS already.
We do need to get
this
him in the
doesn't
TARDIS.
count. This doesn't count.
Series 9, bring back Danny Pink and get him in the TARDIS.
He didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't count because the TARDIS never actually moved, apart from the very end. So that was the characters and the performances by the actors. Now we'll get to individual scenes of importance. The wolves.
Ooh. Well, we needed to have running up and down from something, I guess.
We had a girl in a red coat.
Being chased by a wolf.
Yeah. Well, that's not enough. We need something else. Hey, you named your episode after William Blake, didn't you? Yeah, well, after the tiger. Put in a tiger!
I did like when Maeve was being chased by the wolves and Cora was like shouting to the doctor, quickly, give me a leg up so I can get her. She just walked 5 feet over to the open gate.
Beautiful.
In some respects, the kids were portrayed in this one as being just as smart as the adults.
Yeah.
In certain
and
situations.
possibly a little smarter in some cases.
Maeve certainly was.
Yeah.
Despite the fact she was the quote-unquote problem child.
Oh, boy.
Having mental issues.
Are we going to get to that now?
We're nearly there, but you mentioned the tiger as well. Yeah, the tiger was wasted, I'm sorry.
It was nice of Danny. What the hell did Danny even do?
He
shined a really bright light in the tiger's eyes.
You know that torch that Bradley was using to blind Samson?
I understand where he got the thing and how
Danny
he did it, but how
shined
did he
this
know that would do
torch
anything?
into the tiger's eyes.
Who does that?
And it ran off.
Who sees a man-eating tiger and says, I'm going to flick this flashlight on and off?
The only reason I liked it is because it gave Danny a much-deserved shining moment.
No, and here's the part that gets me. They were on the same side as the tiger.
Yeah, also I've just realised unintentional pun with shining moment. Ignore me.
Here we go.
But yeah, the tiger thing, it was sort of crowbarred in there.
Yeah, here's a question. Was the episode named before they put the tiger in or after they put the tiger in?
I don't know.
Good question.
I don't know. I don't have
it could be they're like, oh, we need a title for this, and like some kid was doing their homework, and it's like, hey, that poem.
Funnily enough, Kat.
There you go.
Funnily enough, Kat. Despite the fact that I dabble in writing now and again, I don't have a hotline to Frank Cottrell Boyce.
Really? My God, you need to get on that.
Well, yeah, because then you could send my ideas along, and then I would finally get recognition and become a millionaire.
That too.
Oh, God.
And then the other scene that people really have people talking and not in the good way is the resolution of the episode. Well, one of the resolutions of the episode. Maeve keeps doing this hand-waving thing.
Uh-huh.
And
she's also hearing voices. Yeah. Don't forget that part.
Even when she's running away, she's even doing this hand-waving thing. And I was like, well, is she seeing cobwebs or what is it? And a friend of mine was really sort of creeped out by this. Like, what's she doing? But it turns out she can hear thoughts.
The magic fireflies.
And then we get a bit that really rubbed people up the wrong way. Maeve's doing her hand-waving thing, and the other kids are really distressed by this. And they're saying, give her a medication. Give her a medication.
She's specifically on medication.
No, yeah. Ruby said that.
And Bradley.
Ruby's the one who's like, she's scaring me. Give her medication. Screw you.
Well, unfortunately, this caused a bit of controversy in the real world.
No.
And people saying that this was entirely the wrong message to send about the mentally ill.
Yeah, I saw a lot of this too. People were saying this just sends the wrong message. The kids with actual psychiatric issues who have medication are going to see Doctor Who and think, oh, I don't need to take my pills.
Right, I appreciate that sentiment, but in my opinion, it's totally wrong. And here's why.
Go on.
Because later on it's revealed that she is not mentally ill at all. So when the doctor said, you're trying to shut her up, you don't listen to the trees, people are saying different things, you just try to ignore them, that's the moral of the story.
No. See, I have 3 things that could be taken from that scene of both the kids being scared because she's doing that and of Maeve being cured, quote unquote. Number 1, the idea that it's okay to not take your medication because you're not just not being heard. While yes, Maeve is not actually mentally ill, it's still the fact that there was still something wrong with her that they did not understand. And if that happens to a kid, it's not going to be the magic fireflies.
Yes.
They're still going to need to take their medication. 2, the idea that people who have issues like this can only be controlled with medication. And number 3, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. It's magic fireflies. You're not the problem. Other things are the problem.
I know. I get what you're saying, but see, this is why we didn't talk back in the Deep Breath review. We didn't talk about that kiss because of all the Vesta and Jenny. That wasn't even a kiss, but because it got complaints and people were getting all up in arms for nothing. This is a TV show, and I get that kids are impressionable, but at the end of the day, that's what parents are for, isn't it?
No, you don't understand. These sorts of issues are exactly what's going on right now. Yes, lesbianism is controversial. Yes, it is a big issue. But when it comes to mental illness, it has a lot less, I guess you could say, attention than, gay rights. I'm sorry, but it really does.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like there are people who are sent to jail who have mental problems, and they cannot get the help that they need. There are people who, I'm sorry, but there are people who go to school shootings and do school shootings who have mental issues, but they never get the help they need. There are people who think that, oh, I am a freak for having these mental issues. There are people who will never ever get help for these because people just think, like, there's a whole chart you can find of what the typical response from a parent towards how their child is acting. If a child has ADD, they're just going to think, oh, the child's not sick. She just can't, she's just looking for attention. That's all.
All good points.
There will always be people who will deny the existence of mental issues, and they are very real, and they are usually due to something in the brain going wrong. And the fact remains that this is a bad representation of that.
If I sound like I'm being insensitive to mental issues, I'm really not trying to be, and I apologise. That's how I sound.
The point
I know you're not. It's just one of those things where I have mental issues. I do. And the fact that people more commonly think, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. I have depression. I am not afraid to stick that out there. I have depression. I have had more people than I can count go, there is nothing wrong with you. You need to just cheer up. And you cannot do that.
That's not the way to solve that.
While we're on the subject of that, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's like there is a chemical imbalance in my brain that I cannot help. There is very little that can be done to help it realistically. I could take pills, but they will not always work. This is one of those things where if you are going to put this into something, you have to think about it first.
You gotta have tact when you do tackle a heavy issue like that. You can't just go, magic fireflies!
I mentioned this back in the summer when Robin Williams sadly passed away, that I've actually had depression myself in the past, so I see where you're coming from. Again, if I'm being insensitive, I don't mean to be, and I'm sorry.
It's fine.
We're all friends.
It's one of those things where you have to really dig into it to truly understand, and most people don't actually dig into it that far. It's the same thing with, like you said, with Robin Williams. Most people not only didn't know he was depressed, but they only paid attention to depressed people after he killed himself.
Yeah. Anyway, you've made some very good points there, and hopefully opened a lot of people's eyes. So yeah, I can see why this particular scene was criticised.
There you go.
Beyond that, the magic fireflies pointless.
Oh. Okay, so the magic fireflies are meant to represent people's thoughts, and for the tree's thoughts, in fact. And for some reason, Maeve is the only person in the entire world that can interact with them.
Which they don't give a reason other than the fact that her sister disappeared, which they never explained that properly either.
And then we get a magic Sonic moment.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We get a magic Sonic moment, and what did he do? He increased the
localize the gravity well or some nonsense.
It's a sonic screwdriver.
By the way, kudos to this guy for writing that line with Clara where she's like, what are you going to do with the sonic screwdriver? It's not a magic wand.
Yes.
Although that's kind of throwing it in our face.
And then unfortunately kind of making it completely irrelevant because, as I say, he then has this situation where it's completely a magic wand. It increases
really
gravity in a small area of forest. Despite the fact him saying, I can't do anything with wood.
Yeah, that doesn't really bother me that much. I mean, I can usually hand wave that sort of stuff away. I mean, I like to Kill the Moon, and Kill the Moon is full of this ridiculous stuff.
Yeah. Don't give Cat nightmares about Kill the Moon, Fred. That's not fair.
I'm sorry.
Too late.
We just need to mention the words Kill the Moon in that order, and you're already having flashbacks.
Oh, God. The stupidity.
Get the
So,
doctor.
should we talk about the actual resolution of the episode?
Yeah, well, she gets sort of possessed by these trees. And
That was a cool scene.
It was, but it was a bit uncomfortably close to, and I'm going to use the T word, Fresno, brace yourself, an episode of Series 1 of Torchwood. It was one of the better ones. It was called Small Worlds, and it was about fairies, but these were not your sort of common garden, nice fairies.
These were like
these
So
things
they were supernatural
evil.
fairies.
These things were evil, and they were killing people, and they reach out to this child.
So they were supernatural fairies.
Yeah, they were.
Ground Control to Major Tom.
I haven't even seen that episode of Supernatural yet, and even I know stay away from the fairies.
But the way that they sort of possessed the child in that was very similar to how they possessed Maeve in this. Although it ended a lot better for the child in this, it has to be said, than it did in Torchwood.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
it was a creepy effect when she's talking and then a completely different voice is coming out.
Yeah, that bit where they sort of escalated it, where it was less her voice and more theirs, but you could still hear hers under it, was really cool. I did have a little bit of trouble actually understanding what the voices were saying.
Yeah.
Because at one point I think it was like they were switching between the two and it got really deep. It was a little hard to hear, so I couldn't hear that one middle part.
No offense to Frank Cottrell Boyce, but it didn't really matter in the end.
No, because they were completely useless.
But it did lead to a scene that I absolutely loved, and we talked about Kill the Moon. This actually justified the freak out in Kill the Moon. A little bit. So Clara actually turns on the Doctor, or turns to the Doctor and says, right, you can't save the Earth, go away.
Well, first she tricks him and lures him back to the TARDIS thinking, oh, we're going to save all these kids who are here, we're going to save me and Danny. And then she turns to the Doctor, she's like, leave. Now.
And he actually offers to save her, but she says, I don't want to be the last of my kind.
And then there is that lovely little callback to the freak out at the end of Kill the Moon where the Doctor just does say that he breathes their air, he walks their earth, this is his planet.
That's after he comes back, but I love that.
No, it didn't. No, that wasn't after he comes back.
It was after he came back.
No, it was before. It was before.
No, it wasn't. It was after he came back, because she said to him leave, and he sort of accepted it, and you think he's going to go and disappear in the TARDIS, and that's it. And then he stops and calls himself Dr. Idiot.
It happened before Dr. Idiot.
It did?
Yeah.
Well, I like the fact that he addressed it anyway, that he did care about the Earth.
It was a lovely little callback to my favorite part of Kill the Moon.
And now on to what I've been saying for quite some time.
And then the resolution happens.
This should have been maybe after 2 to 3 episodes of companionless filler after Kill the Moon. This should have been the episode, not exactly because this isn't a great episode in total, but this should have been the episode that is where Clara and the Doctor meet up again. This should have been it.
So you say Mommy should have probably actually been their actual last hurrah.
Not quite, because what I would do is completely reorder everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's from, let's see, the Caretaker onwards, because the Caretaker is when Danny warns her about the doctor pushing her too far,
I'd have
right?
gone further. I would have put Time Heist after the caretaker.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. But my idea is that it should have gone something like Time Heist, then Flatline, where, you know, like she's like, oh, being the doctor, it's not about being good. And then Mummy on the Orient Express, and then Kill the Moon. And then after that, you know, you have 2 to 3 episodes of filler, and then you have, you know, without Clara being there, and then you have In the Forest of the Night. And it would have made not only the whole thing make a lot more sense, but it would have given the line by the doctor where he repeats her speech back to her a lot more, you know, emphasized.
I wouldn't so much have reordered the episodes as done it slightly differently. So you can everything up from Deep Breath to Kill the Moon in the same order, but she actually leaves him. She doesn't just come back for one last hurrah. She actually leaves him. Mummy, she's not in it at all.
Yeah, leaves him for a while.
Mummy, she's not in it at all. And
well, actually, you know what you could do is you could have Time Heist be one of the companionless episodes because she was useless in that one.
Yeah, and Science Saber could have been the temporary companions. That could have worked. Anyway, then Mummy, you don't have her at all. Flatline, they run into each other almost as a coincidence, and then he gets trapped in the TARDIS and she has to help him, but then she says, that was a favour, we're still done.
No, I think Flatline was fine the way it was done.
Okay.
Like I said, it should really have just been an earlier episode. One that led to the freak out rather than, you know, after it.
But you mentioned the resolution. So the resolution is that it's all one big school homework project. Ugh. And then there's admittedly a rather nice sequence where they, the solar flare comes, again, another flashback to Time Heist. It's even mentioned. The Vancouver of Roxos that was destroyed is actually mentioned by the Doctor. But the trees absorb with the solar flare.
And the Doctor has a funny moment where he's like, well, I could be completely wrong, and this could actually incinerate the Earth, killing everybody.
Yeah, he says it'd be rather awkward now the world was destroyed.
That was pretty
Which was
funny.
admittedly quite a good line. But of course, because it's not the finale, all is well and all is right with the world, and the trees disappear. And then one more thing happens, and
Which we probably should explain that a little better. So at one point, the governments decide, hey, there's a whole bunch of trees around. We should start getting rid of these things. So first they start trying to burn the trees, and that gives the Doctor the realization that the trees can't be burned. So then they come up with this idea to, it was to strip the leaves off the trees, right?
use a defoliant, yeah.
Defoliating agent.
Yeah, defoliate. So they were going to strip down the trees and make it so that they would be able to be burned. And of course this would be bad because then, you know, the solar flare would hit. So the Doctor says, hey kids, you want to do a cool school project? Gets them all together, and they hack into the cellular network. I can't speak. And Maeve reads off this little message that says, hey guys, don't do that. Oh, and hey, can you also bring back my missing sister Annabelle? That'd be great. But you know, she said it in a little kid way.
It hurts. It hurts.
And then we go Disney.
Yeah.
Well, do we though?
No, this is exactly the same pointless bull that Disney would do.
Except, I just want to talk. So what you're basically saying is that Maeve's now with her mother. She's been reunited with her mother after this whole scene where she's said in the TARDIS, you know, don't burn the trees, they're your friends.
Yeah, her mother has been looking for her this entire time while riding a bike.
Which, again, was completely pointless, but...
Yeah.
She finds her...
Can I bring up something? Can I bring up something real quick? It's a little bit of a weird thing, but it's one of those silly little flatline rationalization bullshit things. But so London was overgrown with trees, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
How big is London? How many people? Just give me an estimate here. Right?
A lot.
10 million people? Something like that?
A lot.
It might be the most populated city in the UK.
Okay, so it's like millions of people, right?
I think that's a fair assessment. At least 1 million, yeah.
Why was there no one outside besides this one lady on a bike and the Doctor's gang?
Because the government
they
told them to stay in their homes.
And people would listen to this?
In the event of a national emergency, yes.
Have you not heard of looters?
I have a hard time believing that 10 million people would all be good little Brits and stay in their homes.
Good little
No, but
Brits,
here's
oh
the
my
thing
God.
that gets me. At one point, Clara and the doctor look back and they realize that the trees are still apparently growing, even though we don't see it. So maybe they are out there, but we just can't see them because of all the trees.
Okay,
Also, note the point that it wasn't
now
just
you're
London.
the one rationalizing the plot
It
holes.
wasn't just London,
I've taught you well, Kat.
London, it wasn't just London. It wasn't just Fresno. Fresno, it wasn't just London. It was the whole world.
Okay, yeah, but we saw London in the episode. I know it was a global thing, the trees,
All right.
but we were focused.
That was
on
a pretty
London.
cool visual, by the way, the entirely green Earth.
Yeah.
Even the oceans were green, so you could imagine just a tree 10,000 feet high
Also, while
growing
Clara
out of the
changed her
Marianas
mind and
Trench.
did witness the event with the Doctor, because it would have been weird without her.
How did the whales breathe?
They didn't. They're extinct. Moving on.
That means the dolphins are also extinct.
Best episode ever, 10 out of 10. That's the review.
I'm applauding you for throwing that one in there, because that was brilliant. But
Oh, if only it was done by aliens. That'd be poetic justice.
The point we're trying to make here is that Maeve is now with her mother and they're walking away, and then suddenly there's a magic bush.
And behind the magic bush is
Annabelle.
Okay, so that's
So they walk home, and in a throwaway line, the mother complains about one of the neighbor's plants, and it just so happens that plant has a pair of eyes, which is actually a pretty cool scene, and then you realize what it's leading up to. And then out of the blue, it disappears into the little magic fireflies, and there's like this punk rock girl standing there.
Is she hiding in the bush for a month?
She says nothing. She just sits there. Then slowly she gets up, staring at them, smiling.
The actress was credited, actually, but despite not saying a word, which is unusual.
The mother just is standing there holding the bike going, Annabelle! My Annabelle! And Maeve is just standing there.
No, Maeve says, I knew you were here. The thought of you came to me. What? I am sorry.
Yeah, but she's still just standing there.
Did we miss something?
They're all just standing there.
Did we miss
saying,
something there?
The way you're saying that, it makes me kind of think that Annabelle went missing, but then the tree thoughts willed her back.
Well, here's the thing. We didn't know anything about Annabelle. Did she run away from home? Was she kidnapped?
We don't know,
dead?
exactly. So, who
the
the
only
hell
thing I
knows?
can think is that from the way she's dressed, she probably ran away from home.
Was she transformed into a bush?
It's like, if she ran away from home, then why is she so happy to be back?
If she was transformed into a bush, by the way, they missed a trick by not calling her Daphne, because there was a mythological reference in there they couldn't use, but never mind.
Or Melanie.
Well played. Right.
I was waiting.
I
was waiting to see if anyone got that.
I got
They
it.
could have just called her Bush. With all the subtlety of this scene, they could have done that, and I would have bought it.
So I think it's fair to say, as we need to wrap this up now, it wasn't a great episode.
Nah.
Overall, there were bits I liked.
Yeah, there are bits, but overall, it's just a little nonsensical and just a little bit lacking in tact.
Is it fair to say we would have been perfectly fine with the series without this episode being in it? Is that fair?
I guess. I mean, it's not terrible Doctor Who, but it's not, like, essential, like, good Doctor Who either.
If you're out there actually enjoying it, then more power to you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm Mr. Positive. I'm not condemning it and saying it's the worst episode ever, but it's...
This is one of the episodes where, if I was watching the series over again, I would skip it.
Yeah.
It's there, but it adds nothing.
I mean, I'm probably going to be rewatching the series for, like, review purposes, so I will likely watch it again for that, but beyond that, for, like, personal viewing, I probably wouldn't do it.
Same.
It has no point to it. It's a pointless episode. It's not even good filler.
Not really. No.
I do think, though, it kind of suffered because it came after Mummy on the Orient Express and Flatline.
I don't think that's the case at all. I just think it's...
I think it just wasn't done well.
Yeah, I'll agree with Kay here. I don't think placing it anywhere else really would have helped. It's just kind of mediocre. Regardless.
It's like, if you want to do, this is essentially a fairy tale episode. If you want to do one, okay, fine. But you can't, it's just, like in most sci-fi, you can't leave things unexplained. You can't just say it's a mysterious thing and then it's done.
It's a terrible idea to.
If you're going fairy tale, you got to go full in on that.
Yeah, it's like you can somewhat keep things mysterious. Like, you don't have to tell me the origins of fairies. You just have to tell me why they're there.
Yeah. Yeah, I see.
It's like, when you don't do that, it takes away from the episode.
But if I may tangent a little, segue a little bit, there's one advantage to this not being a very good episode. And that is that may potentially make the next episode appear even greater in comparison. And one episode we've got, it's called Dark Water. This trailer gave me chills.
Just put a linky thing up right now.
I will link that, and I will link the TV trailer that came out today, because that also was pretty damn good.
The TV trailer?
Yeah. And it was 30 seconds. It wasn't like the usual 10-second thing.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
It doesn't show off too much, but it's good. But we have got
put that on screen right now.
So much in this 30 seconds to take in. And it's good.
And isn't the finale a 3-parter technically?
Two-parter.
The 3 episodes. Okay, 2 episodes.
We've got a 2-parter back!
Yay!
Praise the sun!
I will say one thing, if they do not do Missy extremely well in these next episodes, every single other place that she has been will be forever ruined.
Yeah,
I need to nail Missy
here. You see,
it was bad before, but if they do not do it right in these final episodes, they're going to kill this character.
I hope to.
I have complained a lot about that too in both my text reviews, and I'm pretty sure on here that the whole Missy thing so far pretty much amounts to the actress showing up and going, "I'm a mystery."
As she did at the end of this episode, by the way, which we didn't touch on.
So if they don't have a goddamn good
Missy had no point of being in the Forest of the Night. I'm just going to put that out now.
Oh yeah, she was in that episode. I completely forgot until
she was like, "Oh well, that was a surprise. I do like surprises," and then we don't see her again.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like really confused because we see like the flare striking the earth, and it's a really cool little CGI scene, and then all of a sudden we're on a tablet and it's Missy, and it's like, what just happened?
On a tablet.
She's just there to be like, it's like, ooh, remember Missy?
Seriously, she's using an iPad. She's using an iPad to watch these things. What the heck?
I guess BBC just wanted to get their quota of iPads in TV shows.
Steve
well, no,
Jobs
you can't even tell it is an iPad. It's like, it doesn't have any logos or anything on it.
It's not a space iPad.
But no, there is so much awesome coming out of this trailer. We've got an apparently evil Clara.
I think that's going to be a red herring.
It might be, but she appears to be evil in the trailer. You can only go off the trailer. Also, the thing I've known for weeks, and I've had to avoid and had to cut out of reviews. The Cybermen are back.
Can I complain now? Can I complain now because I went to do my Doctor Who reviews on the Boss Dungeon, and I went okay. I'm just going to Google Doctor Who Deep Breath. Second goddamn result is Dr. Missy and Cybermen.
Yeah. You told me you spoiled something, and I guessed it was that. Also, they can fly now, by the way.
What?
Cybermen can fly now, according to that trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Bloody St. Paul's Cathedral opens up, and a load of Cybermen fly out.
St. Paul's Cathedral and Cybermen, that has been referenced before on this Doctor Who.
They've completely redone that iconic shot.
Yeah, that is...
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
How much of a fanboy would you act like if the Cybermen returned to their old design, but just updated a bit?
Oh my god, I would freak the hell out.
I kind of like the new design, the second new design.
Yeah.
As long as...
I know, I'm just saying in regards to the fact that he's a huge classic nerd.
Can I just say that they need to drop the upgrading thing? Like off a cliff.
I mean, as much as I like Nightmare and Silver and Mr. Clever, making the Cybermen the stupid Borg... Neil! What the hell?
And we know that Kachiri...
You know what they need to drop?
You talked about Missy. We know that Kachiri has a very outlandish theory that I'm going to get him to talk about. If we can get him to come back the next week, we'll get him to mention it, and probably he'll say he was completely wrong. Does anyone want to put it on the table who Missy is?
I would want to put on the table, actually, that we have no idea who Missy is, And it's probably going to be some reveal that will only make sense given information gleaned from Dark Water itself.
Also, what's
Yeah,
up
I'm
with the
going to
title?
agree with that.
I don't know.
The
We'll
title's
find
a little
out.
bit strange.
We'll find out.
I mean, the second part has a title which I'm not going to say because it's a spoiler, but that makes sense. Dark Water, yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, that's my prediction, that this is going to be a revelation that only makes sense given the context of the
And
episodes.
of course, we also need to find out what the hell is I'm not Clara Oswald, she never existed.
Red herring. Red herring!
Wasn't there a cartoon called Dark Water?
Pirates of Dark Water.
Thank you.
Oh no, don't be a pirate episode, please. Not another Curse of the Black Spot.
No!
No!
Don't!
No!
No! Oh no! Phil Morris found the smugglers in Sierra Leone!
Moffat!
No, but it's like the entire time that the trailer was playing, and when they said it was Dark Water, it's like, why does that sound so familiar? And it's like, oh, now I remember it has the weird monkey bird
Also,
thing.
it could be a weird reference to oil.
Maybe.
I've heard Dark Water used as a sort of archaic term for oil, so maybe
You're
that's
making me
that
think
and
of the black
Cybermen.
goo from Prometheus now.
But no, honestly, we're not going to reference Prometheus. But
Good.
honestly, it looks incredible from these two trailers, and I hope we're not hyping ourselves up, but if this is anything close to the Pandorica Opens, I'll be a happy man.
I have high hopes for
That
this.
is still
I
the
hope
best
I'm not
finale.
dead. Well, we'll
That
see.
is still the best finale to this day.
I think my favorite finale, based on just the entirety of the last couple minutes, is the end of Army of Ghosts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
well, that's an amazing...
The spear is not ours.
That's perhaps the best cliffhanger ever. Actually, Parting of the Ways would be a good finale as well.
I'll have you know the best cliffhanger was in Dragonfire.
Yes!
Oh.
Yes!
I will never not reference that.
Oh,
Cat, virtual high five.
That was like, oh, I think that had to have been like the second Classic Who serial I ever watched.
You poor sot.
So imagine just coming off of Remembrance of the Daleks, which you've seen right now, coming off of that, going to Dragonfire, and seeing literal cliffhanger. It's going, what? But I think we can wrap this up
I think
now.
we need to wrap this up. So yeah, we're all excited for the finale, aren't we? Super excited for the finale.
Yeah.
Yes, I am hyped.
And we're going to try and get everybody to talk about the finale, probably just the second part, but if we can arrange it both parts, that would be amazing. But take that as
Oh, so I finally get to meet Kuchiri,
yes, hopefully. But don't take that as read.
Mhm.
It's just something I'm going to try and do, but we may not be able to manage it depending on how busy everyone is. And also being in different continents doesn't help. So, that was In the Forest of the Night. Thank you for watching the review. And next time, some of us, any combination of us, will be reviewing Dark Water. Until then, I've been Raniac,
Ooh.
I've been Fresno.
I've been annoying.
aka Cat.
Okay, Ruby.
Oh, God.
I hate you.
End it now.
Love you too.
I have your
See you
address.
next week, folks. Bye-bye.
I will end you.